Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin. Raj.
It's been a while since we've had like one of these, so it's
It's
fine.
been what, like 2 games?
Oh, that's true. But we need a podcast after that game, though. I guess I didn't have to talk about it. Didn't have to discuss it. Didn't have to articulate my thoughts on it. I was actually in El Segundo watching South Bay play, so didn't really have to.
Was that game competitive?
South Bay actually was on the correct end of things, so they were actually blowing out their opponent during this. But yes,
There you go. This was a thorough and utter ass whooping at the hand of the Oklahoma City Thunder, who winds up winning 121-92, and Raja wasn't even that close. This was
in the first quarter. First quarter was closer than that score would.
I think it got up to double digits though in the first quarter, and it
absolutely did. It got up to 17 very quickly, but
yeah, there was not,
we were up 10. We were up
at one point. The game was tied. How about that?
We were up 7-2, and then Oklahoma City threw a 9-0 punch, and JJ took a timeout. You know that it's always not fun, but it's interesting to watch when a coach throws their first timeout. It's like, all right, let's settle in. Like, they threw the first punch, and then OKC comes out and just throws 3 other daggers, and so you just know, like, oh, all right, it's that type of game.
Just all right. That last punch hurt. All right, now you got my feet. Yeah. Wham! Like,
yeah, it's like the boxer in the corner. Like you patch up the little hits. And you're like, all right, you ready to go back there? Yeah. They come back, just gushing blood. Yeah.
That's where like your trainer there in the corner is like, hey man, avoid the right hand, stay away from the right, stay away from the body, get away from him, get away. Boom. Like,
I got 50 hands out there. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Man, here's where I kind of want to start, because I don't know about you. I treated this one like a barometer game, right? A measuring stick game. And had the Lakers won, we'd be sitting here saying that, oh my God, they're in that class.
Right.
They belong. They're getting LeBron back.
Yeah.
This is what they did without LeBron. So, like, if I'm gonna be fair as an analyst, given my expectations going in, I have to say that the Lakers are way far away from that tier of basketball team. Like, really, really far away. And now I think they got an outlier bad game from Luka, and I thought they got an outlier bad game while it mattered from Austin. And we'll talk about that stuff over the course of the game. But I also thought, Raj, that up and down this roster, one team had a bunch of guys who understand what they should be doing out there, and the other one was the Lakers. And like, this was like, I did the Hoops Tonight playback with Jason, and I thought he put it well when he said this was an organizational loss. This was from the top down. I thought JJ was thoroughly outcoached. I thought the Lakers were ill prepared. They were the Thunder were on the second night of a back-to-back in this one. You would never have known it. Neither from a physical standpoint and like how much pep they had in their step, and also from a preparation standpoint as well. And then I just also think, like we were talking about it in the Slack, or I guess you and Sabrina were talking about it in the Slack. The Thunder just have guy after guy after guy that they have hit on. And the only time Dalton Connect seems to like look like an NBA player is when it doesn't matter at all. So, and that was a first round pick. So, yeah, I don't like that's kind of where I feel like we have to start is that like this was not just one basketball team beating a basketball team. This was one organization bending another organization over a chair.
You mentioned outlier bad Luka game, outlier bad Austin game, and I think you're correct to an extent in terms of those guys won't play as poorly. But this was not an outlier defensive game, and this was not an outlier like
Yeah, that's a great point.
defensive execution game. They forced the Lakers into like this wasn't just Luka and Austin blatantly throwing the ball away. This was by force. This was pressure at every single point of the game. They were up. They challenged a play up 32. Like I was in shock of that. They were up 32 late in
And
the
won the challenge.
whenever it was. They did win the challenge, and then Chet eventually picked up his fourth foul on the subsequent play. But in any case, yeah, their defense was locked in from the start. I thought the Lakers weren't prepared for that in any capacity. I mean, you go from the Charlotte Hornets defense to the Oklahoma City Thunder's defense. I'm not sure there's a more drastic jump in just seriousness and execution, and their defense was locked in. Again, I agree with you that those two guys won't play as poorly, but this is the closest, and I don't say this lightly. I'm following the NBA for now as long as I had, so I've kind of seen different teams come through. This is the closest to the KD Warriors I've seen. Like Denver's had a really great team in the recent years. Obviously, Boston's had a really great team. Oklahoma City feels like the first one where, if you remember with the KD Warriors, the Lakers weren't good at the time, but you mess up for a 3-minute stretch and the game's over. Like there's no coming back from it. Shai's not missing four.
The Warriors were like, oh, the KD Warriors.
The
I thought
KD
you were saying the
Warriors.
KD Thunder.
No,
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 like
no.
yeah.
No.
I'm with you.
KD Warriors. Yeah. So a 3-minute stretch, all of a sudden Clay has 3 threes. You know what I mean? And it's just this tornado that hits you. And Oklahoma City does it in a different way.
Sharknado, even.
Sharknado. Yeah. It was funny because Billy Mack, when Caruso came in, it was like, Caruso doesn't really score. And then right away, Caruso hits a 3, hits a little jumper, gets a steal and breakaway dunk. And
I honestly, Raj, I thought Caruso dominated tonight. Dominated. Like he came in and because at the beginning of the game, Luka was like doing a really good job, I thought, of attacking Cason Wallace, one of his shoulders, right? And I thought he was doing a really good job of like playing through Cason Wallace. And then they brought in Caruso, and Caruso's like, "You don't do that shit to me."
By the way, really quick, just the abundance of wealth where Caruso comes off your bench.
Yeah.
Like just it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Could you imagine just like letting that dude walk? Man. So like I don't know. Like but that's the fucking point though, man. Like when I say it's an organizational win, Caruso is the perfect guy to talk about here because the Lakers let Caruso walk for nothing. Like they backed themselves into a corner and told themselves they had to choose between Caruso and Talen Horton-Tucker, and then chose the guy who's not in the league anymore over Caruso. Meanwhile, the Thunder were presented an opportunity to trade, one of their core pieces at the time in Josh Giddey. They gave up a core piece to bring in Alex Caruso because they properly valued this dude, especially on the contract that he was on when they traded for him, right? Which, by the way, the Lakers could have got him at a further discount so it's like when I talk about like organizational beatdown, that is the example to point to is Alex Caruso, because he comes into the game and it was already kind of drifting towards, it was already the rope was like slipping from their hands, and then Caruso entered the game and was like, yoink, like this is my rope, mother bleepers. Like this is that you guys are not winning. And I thought he completely dominated Luka, and I thought he made Reaves look about as bad as he's looked as a professional basketball player whenever Caruso was on him. This was just, I mean, and again, like I see in the chat, people already lining up to dump on Reaves. Frankly, I was more disappointed with Luka in this game than I was Reaves for large chunks of it. But yeah, I do want to like hammer home the point of it being an organizational thing, because Like you made the point in the chat. Like it's just AJ Mitchell comes out of nowhere. They, Kason Wallace is a guy that they just found out of nowhere. They Isaiah Joe was a guy who was a cast off from Philly that they turned into a good player. That's the shit that the Dodgers do.
Yeah, they're the bar right now in the NBA, and they obviously had like a little bit of in terms of there was an adjustment period, right? There was teams laughing at them, like why are they tanking at such a deliberate level, right? What are they doing? But I think they've cultivated, and just with their GM Sam Presti being there as long as he's been, they really have a culture now, and there's an attention to detail where there's some of the stuff you can joke about where they do the post game interviews with eight of the guys, but I think like it all fits into this really focused team. And Shai had this quote which is insane. I don't know if you've heard it, where somebody asked him, you guys kind of struggled through the playoffs. He's like, I don't like the way we won, which is like, that's a quote you just don't hear players say that. And it's a little bit, I'm sure he's like kind of extending it, but I think you see that this year. There is no drop off from last year. There is no championship hangover, and they're young enough where they can't really even be hungover. Yeah.
So
yeah. So they can't really drink. And so it helps in the
there are like 13 stories about the fact that they didn't.
Right. There's no alcohol in the locker room.
Like they had Alex Caruso teaching them how to pop champagne, which again, just such like a perfect.
So
like
good.
I'm an English major, so I look for these things. And Alex Caruso literally teaching these guys how to celebrate winning a championship, having been there before.
yeah. No, it's amazing. And then finding Mark Daigneault, right, as their coach and sticking with him. How many teams would have let him go, right? Oh, thank you for doing the rebuild. Like now let's go get the name, the coach with the name recognition. No, they stuck with their guy through and through, and I think they're being rewarded for it. This is kind of what you'd hope. And now this is how you get, now they can take these risks, and now they find a player that's at the 55th overall pick last year, whatever AJ Mitchell was, and Mark Daigneault has enough kind of in the room to start him. Just like, yeah, I'm just gonna start this guy. Yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna start him because he fits kind of what we want to do, and the whole team accepts it. I don't know. This is just a really beautifully built team, and it's almost unfair. I tweeted this out that Shai, who is climbing my ranks of like favorite, just best players in the league, you don't really get the appreciation because he just puts in 30 a night that you just take that for granted. You're like, oh, Shai had 33, 5, and 8 tonight. He's played in 5 fourth quarters this year, so his numbers could balloon even more if they were competitive in some of these games, if other teams were competitive. But no, this is just an amazingly built team. It's an unfair, almost supporting cast that Shai has around him. Best defense in the league. I mean, Caruso, Kason Wallace, Lou Dort didn't even play tonight. Think about if that guy was also out there. Jalen Williams, J Dub, who was the second best player on a championship team last year. So this is a great team. The Lakers have but I'm with you though of it being a measuring stick. Obviously, LeBron being out is the context towards it, but they put those sticks together, and OKC is quite higher. Now Lakers have time, and I think they're behind OKC, of course, in continuity and all that stuff. But this was definitely important to have this. You don't play OKC again until February, but it's at least good to look up and know, okay, this is what we're chasing. All right, we have a lot of work to do.
Unless the takeaway is we're way too far from that team.
I don't think so. I don't think Luka feels that, or Austin, like watching, like Luka takes this matchup. It's funny, like getting to know stars, like watching them every game. There's a level of seriousness Luka at least started this game with. Like there was very much an intention, like, no, I want this game. Like me and Shai are seen as whatever in the same tier. I want this game. And then quickly, obviously, he realized like this is not happening this game, but I thought at least he started this one, and I don't think they at least feel that way. Maybe the team does. I don't know, but one game, I don't think we'll decide that. But definitely right now, yeah, OKC. I mean, maybe just league wide. I have not watched a team with this much talent and just precision on both ends as OKC this year.
I got to talk about Luka. I was thoroughly unimpressed with the game that he played. I thought ESPN did that thing with like their AI shot chart. Did you see that? And it would
don't have ESPN still, so
Oh, that's right.
I have Spectrum, so thankfully I can watch the
Okay.
games.
Well,
But
so ESPN does this thing where they basically use AI to recreate the player taking the shot. Like
okay,
it's not just the X's and O's on the shot chart. It's actually they actually like show the player taking the shots, right?
okay,
And the shot chart that they compiled was Austin and Luka's shots and the types of shots that
mhm,
they were trying to take to that point in the game.
mhm,
And a lot of Luka's attempts, and I'll look at it statistically here too, but a lot of Luka's attempts to that point in the game were step back 3-pointers and step back mid-range jumpers or deep mid-range jumpers and stuff. And it was a lot of settling. And like the reason that I would say that I actually liked Austin's game a little bit more than Luka's, or quite a bit more than Luka's, was because you looked at Austin's shot in that, or shot types in that uh graphic that ESPN put together, and it was drives to the basket, it was attempts at the rim. It, even if they got blocked, he was at least trying to get downhill. And to me, like, we've talked a lot over the years about the superstar setting the tone. And once you see a superstar start to settle like that offensively too, like especially, I felt like the rest of the Lakers just kind of like also started settling and also didn't really know what to do offensively. Now look at this off. I'll look at this statistically to see if it backs up that, what I'm kind of talking about here. Um, so Luka went 7 of 20 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3-point range, 4 of 7 from the free throw line. Austin went 4 of 4 or 4 of 12 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3-point range, and shot 6 free throws. So like Austin shot more free throws, or one fewer free throw on just a little more than half the field goal attempts. And that's kind of what I'm talking about here, right? Like one guy was trying to get to the rim and one guy was trying to get downhill and the other guy was Luka. So like, I don't know. I just really didn't like you said that like this was a game that Luka at least started to take seriously from the get, but I actually was pretty unimpressed with the game that Luka played.
yeah, I thought their entire it's funny, listen to you don't really hear this from the Laker, I guess the analysts, but James Worthy and Stu Lance, honestly, obviously you were listening to ESPN, but Stu Lance was like, they need to stop running pick and roll because Luka is getting blitz. And I
Mhm.
don't know if I agree with that. Like I feel like if you're getting blitz, you've kind of done the
You're
job
doing
of
your job, yeah.
yeah, you're doing what the pick and roll job was. And James Worthy, even at halftime, was saying against this Oklahoma team, you can't really run pick and roll because it's too stagnant, is the point he was making. You need more motion offense. And the Lakers just don't have the personnel of that. Like, that's just not their personnel of having a bunch of motion offense. But it's why I've banged the drum all summer pretty much of, hey, we got to find stuff where Luke and Austin work together. Like, there's got to be stuff where those two have more cohesion on the court rather than each of them watching the other cook, right? I've used the kitchen example where one guy's watching the other guy pour the oil in the pan and all that. It's like they're not working at all together. And I feel like you see some of the downsides of that. I thought once they, and you could see Luka on the, I don't know if they showed this on ESPN, but you can see Luka like doing this every time, kind of like, hey, they're coming at me. Like, you guys got to move. Like, and I felt like Rui, Vando, Hayes, all these screeners, even Ayton, I thought improved as the game went on. They were too slow in their reaction time. Like, it was just like once the screen come, they reacted way too late, and all these turnovers were created. Not excusing Luka for that, but I just thought we were not connected at all offensively. And again, Oklahoma City is just too good. Like, they will, if they see that you will have any weakness, like if they see a cut on your arm, they're gonna bust it open. Like, that's how they operate. But yeah, I thought the execution and the game plan just was not good enough. And again, the lead ballooned to 17, I believe, with 3 or 4 minutes left in the first quarter. By then, like, now you're in survival mode. That's where Austin started just like, okay, I'm just gonna put my head down. I don't care if Chet's at the rim
But
waiting for
that's the
me.
thing though, I respect that.
No, for sure. I think that's a great approach, and I like that he did that. But what I'm saying was I didn't like the game plan at all. I just thought we were not
Yeah, me neither.
prepared for what OKC was going to bring. Just once they stopped our pick and roll, I feel like we had nothing to go to. It was just like, all right, what are we going to do? That's how you don't make a field goal in the second quarter till what, 4 minutes left. I think they didn't have a field goal until
Yeah.
Marcus Smart like just put in a heat from 3.
Well, like
So I'm with you.
I also thought that like the Lakers game plan kind of played into
Oh, absolutely.
played into the not only was it ineffective in that they didn't have a plan after the pick and roll didn't work, but after a pick and roll didn't work, they were passing the ball to Austin in ISO, and he's not the athlete that would attack in isolation. If you're going to do that, Austin has to have the first pick and roll. And if that doesn't work, then you wrote like if you're going to do the your turn, my turn thing and have them on opposite sides of the court, I would rather start possessions with Austin running a pick and roll, seeing if he can get downhill. And your release valve then is Luka, who can get an advantage in ISO. But like they kept on passing the ball to Austin, who, yeah, like this dude Johnny is like, thrilled about the game that Reaves played, and apparently really happy that the Lakers lost this one so that he could dunk on Reaves. Yes, Austin has he's a white dude. Like I'll just say it. Like he's a white guy, and he has athletic shortcomings that make it difficult for him to turn the corner on more athletic, physical, longer defenders. And that's been the deal with him. That was the deal with him against Minnesota last year too, when Gilgeous-Alexander Walker and even Mike Conley was bothering him in that series. And so like I don't know. I thought the only times that the Lakers looked even like okay were when Ayton was setting that, like he does a really good job of like setting that multiple screens on the same pick and roll. And the only time that I thought the Lakers looked even remotely organized was when Ayton was setting pick and rolls for Austin. Austin was getting downhill, and you would do it that way. And like, yeah, I'm gonna respect Austin trying to get downhill a lot more than Luka shooting step back 3-pointer after step back 3-pointer after step back 3-pointer. And I know that he was getting blitzed, and I'm with you that like the Lakers role players, like one of the things that Jason and I were kind of marveling at was how quickly OKC makes their decisions. Ball gets into the middle of the court, boom. Ball gets over here, boom. Pick and roll over here, bang. That decision is making so much more quickly. And to me, that's a coaching thing. But but like the way that to me, the way that the Lakers tried to attack OKC tonight was fundamentally flawed. In that, like the guy that you should be looking at to create an advantage in isolation can't. Right, like the guy that they kept swinging the ball over to, hey man, go to work on AJ Mitchell, and Mitchell was just swallowing him up. And like, yeah, that is a problem for Austin Reaves. He's getting swallowed up by AJ Mitchell. But to me, it was like, also, I thought the game plan was poor.
Well, OKC does a good job. It was kind of like again, I'm not comparing them. I think Chet has a way to at least reach this point, but they use Chet sometimes like AD. Like they start Chet and Hartenstein together, right? And it reminds me a lot, like I get these 2020 flashbacks of how AD and Dwight would start together and just bludgeon teams. And the Lakers back then would switch AD out onto perimeter players, and perimeter players sometimes would be like, "Oh, I have I have a big man on me."
Yeah,
and they think like that's good offense when really it's exactly what the Lakers wanted you to do, right? Okay, attack AD. We have a big man waiting for you at the rim. And OKC does a similar thing where they'll switch Chet on you, and Luka a few times try to go at Chet. And I always say, like, this is not a one-on-one game at the park, right? OKC's help defense principles, I think, are the best in the league. They help at the nail really well. They, again, have awesome rim protection. All their guards are feisty. None of them are afraid of contact or afraid of getting into the mix. They all box out as well. They're just a really well-oiled machine, almost AI to the point where everything goes as exactly it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
The corner help is exactly where it's supposed to be,
man.
but it's absurd. But I thought I saw a lot of that too, where once they stopped blitzing, they were just switching Chet on to Luka, and Luka was trying to go at Chet. And this is where the step back threes come in, because Luka looks at the vision that he has and goes, okay, my corner shooter is Vando. I can jump and try to hit Rui on the opposite side. I can swing it to Austin where I haven't created any advantage. All right, let me go at Chet one-on-one. And OKC, that's just, you're not going to be OKC playing one-on-one. Like, they're too good a defensive team. And I thought we got baited into that. And I think that's why, again, the scoring was what it was. We had what, 30 points at halftime, 38 points at halftime. Like, obviously we gave up 72. We only gave up 30 in the first quarter. We scored like 18 or 15, whatever it was. I think that's what kind of pushed you out of the game. The offense sometimes your best offense is your best defense. I thought tonight us being able to create any shots hurt us on the other end. Just a poor game. And I'm hoping this isn't a game where you just throw into, like the Atlanta game, you throw in the trash, right? Like I think we've had kind of disagreements on offline kind of how that game came about. But in any case, like that game you kind of throw away. Like that's an interesting Atlanta team that somehow beat the Kings by 30 on the road today in Sacramento. But this one, I hope like there's some tape from it. There's like, hey, this is what the best team in the league does against us. This is what they think we can't do. You know what I mean? Like this is what they think our weakness is. That's what we got to work on going forward.
The reason I would put this in the Atlanta game in the same vein is
Really
because twice now the Lakers got punched and
couldn't respond.
Yeah. Like Atlanta comes out and they punch and the Lakers weren't prepared for them to throw that punch. You know, I've said it a few times on the show. But like I boxed before and there was no worse feeling than getting punched by somebody and being like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, where did that, like, I've been
Like
hit
an
by enough.
unexpected punch.
Yeah, but I've been punched by enough guys in boxing that like you kind of you feel like you can expect certain levels of power from like the way that guys kind of look and the way that they throw their punches or whatever. It's the ones that you aren't expecting that knock you the fuck out, right? It's the ones where you're kind of slacked and you're like, you take a little, you go into a fight, you go into a sparring match or something like that, and you're just kind of like just a little too loose. Those are the ones where you get knocked on your ass and you're like, oh, like that really sucked. And that was the Atlanta game, man. Like that was like they got into the middle of the ring and they were like, you know, still kind of like stretching and you know and stuff, and they're still getting ready, and then boom, and it was over. And
Yeah.
that game was over so quickly. And this was like JJ Redick said it after that game. He knew 2 minutes in that the Lakers didn't have it in this one.
Right.
And to me, after the 9-0 or whatever run it was that OKC went on, again, I knew that the Lakers didn't have it. And that's not a good thing to say about a team that you're hoping can one day become, or maybe at some point become, a championship contender. Like, where's the fight at? Like, where's the resolve? Where's the working to get back into the game? We just watched the Dodgers. They won an 18-inning World Series game, got absolutely smoked the next couple of games, and you're thinking, oh, great, they're going back to Toronto. This thing's freaking over. But no, they find somewhere within them, you know, the heart of a champion or whatever, to use the cliche, and they figure out a way to win that series. And in this case, like if the Lakers were there, the game 6 in Toronto, they would have lost by 15 runs. You know, I don't like that about this team. And look, like, to the people who like aren't happy with me criticizing Luka, he said it too. He said, quote, they're champions for a reason. Doncic says, this is from Wiki, said that starts with him. The way that this game played out starts with him. It does.
Yeah.
Like him accepting. It was the same shit that we saw in the Minnesota series, where it was like, all right, nothing else is working. Bring Gobert out into space, and I'm going to go into a stationary one-on-one game against him, and I'm going to take step back 3-pointers. It's the exact same thing we saw tonight with Chet. It's like that can't be the thing that you go to here.
Yeah, and I'm with you. You mentioned organizational win. This is an entire team loss, right? It's not just on two people, not just on Luka. I thought the whole just game plan of this game, they just were not prepared at all for what OKC was gonna bring. It's funny because I think in an 82 game grind, like you're just gonna get OKC again to the side, but the Atlanta game, like I expect, it's just funny because the West the West is so insane, Anthony, that like I don't remember when I was growing up watching basketball if it was this way. But 12 games in, you have the Sacramento Kings head coach already, discussing the haters that he has and kind of doing press conferences going not taking any questions, just doing a straight up presser unannounced where he just kind of gives his thoughts on the team. They're 12. This is 12 games in. The Warriors, 12 games in, 500 basketball team, have two of their stars come out and basically criticize and name two of the young players on the team, which leads to a benching tonight. Will Richards started for Jonathan Kuminga. That's an interesting situation. So the West, my point is like you could feel the pressure of the West very quick, like kind of come up on you even early in the year. And that's why I think banking those wins so early were great, but you also can't kind of let the rope go as these games go on and these long road trips, this type of stuff happens. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see this in the same vein as the Atlanta one. Like that felt, you said they got in the ring and were stretching. I'm not even sure they were in the ring. Like that was a game they perfectly looked at and went, we're here in Atlanta for 4 days or whatever they were. I think they said on the broadcast because of how the road trip was set up. Like if they're gonna hit every three,
you're still at Magic City.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that. Getting
those
wings.
Lou Williams lemon pepper wings.
Yeah, just the wings, right?
Walked onto the court. They're like, "Oh shit, they're still on my fingers." All right. We should it though. Like, I want to be clear that I don't want it to seem as if I'm excusing away Austin's shortcomings as a player, simply because I thought Luka was worse. I do think that this game really hammered home the athleticism deficit that the Lakers are going to be playing at, so long as they build around Luka and Austin together, And if you're going to build around those guys, you probably can't have a Jake LaRavia on your team. You probably can't have a Rui Hachimura on your team playing out of position and being slower as a result. Like DeAndre Ayton, the guy that you have at center probably has to be a better athlete than DeAndre Ayton is. Like, to me, again, we'll talk about Austin specifically here in a second, but like the athleticism bit of it is concerning.
It is, and OKC also highlights just a gap in talent, right? Just throughout their roster, it's just 9-10 man rotation, and I thought this game really got out of hand when Vando and Hayes both subbed in. That's a pairing that JJ has been going to quite often, and it's survived because I think of the competition. But OKC's a different level. That's, to me, it's like putting handcuffs on whoever the guard is with them, pretty much, right? It's like, all right, go do everything there. And it's so like they are so focused. There is no like game to game. Every game matters to them to the point where I saw them helping off both Vando and Hayes in a way. Like this is all scouted very well. Where Luka tried to run a pick and roll with Vando, they're like, dude, you're not getting any space on this. Like there is no room for this pass to go. And so just a lot of stuff. Again, I thought the preparation just wasn't there.
I also thought, like, to your point, the minor details within the preparation for it too, where so Luka would much rather, when he gets blitzed, the ball goes up, right? Yeah. And it's him taking advantage of the fact that he's 6'8" or whatever he is.
Right.
And he can just throw over the top of most traps. And I thought, like, to your point about, like the extra level of preparation in this one, they knew that. And when they were trapping, all of their hands were always straight up. And they were all prepared for the over-the-top pass. And if Luka was going to try, if Luka was going to beat them or beat that trap, he was going to have to do it with a bounce pass. And the couple of times that he did try doing that, they were turnovers or they didn't gain the advantage. Or the play was behind, the pass was behind or something like that. It was honestly the first time that I've ever seen Luka really struggle to throw a specific kind of pass. And again, like that's just, that's kind of part of what I'm talking about with like the organizational win. Like Dagno is just so much better, and his coaching staff like that group collectively is just so far ahead of where the Lakers group is right now.
Yeah. And again, they've like all this has been built through the draft, right? And there's so many times where they could have cashed players in, cashed in their chips to go get something else, right? Throw a bunch of first round picks here to go add a little bit of talent, but they've stuck with their guys and they've kind of doubled down on development, right? They're like, all right, Isaiah Joe, like we got this great shooter. Now, like, let's develop him into a driver. Let's develop his defensive ability. Now Isaiah Joe comes in, and it's like this guy doesn't hurt you at all. I remember when Isaiah Joe first started playing, that okay, this is a defensive liability, and now he's a guy that they can play in any type of units. AJ Mitchell, you saw tonight, the rookie, I believe this season. Their just whole organization is rowing, and they've made almost no mistakes. It feels like the last 3 or 4 years, every signing works, every trade works out, and their coaching staff has had time to build and. They've created something super special where again, this is the closest to the KD Warriors I've seen. This is the best team in the league that will absolutely bulldoze you in 4 minutes if you're not prepared. They're 11-1, just ridiculous team.
Thing is, I still don't know if I would take them to win this year's championship. Like I think I would still take Denver.
Wow.
After the game, apparently, I see this in the chat. I saw you guys asking in the chat, and our crack producer here, Fred Irwin, was able to find the video of it. It is loading while I talk, but
Yeah, if I'm reading properly, somebody asked Luka if he's
Luka just got asked one of the most stupid questions I've ever seen. So here is that question.
Look, I mean, just City of Dallas fans, players, they always have a special place in my heart. You know, I thought I was gonna stay there forever, but I didn't. So they'll always be a special place for me. Always have to call it home. But right now, I'm focused on the Lakers. You know, trying to move on. But obviously, always is gonna be part of me there. But just trying to move on, focus on what we're doing here.
I don't want to get you in trouble with Lakers Nation, but with Nico now gone and you obviously have a lot of fans back in Dallas, is there a world in which you could ever see yourself playing for that franchise ever again, perhaps one day down the road?
Right now, I'm just focused on the Lakers, man. Like, no further comments.
Thank you. Thanks.
wow.
I don't know who asked the question.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Dave. So I grabbed that video from Dave, but it wasn't Dave asking the question.
No.
So at some point, I'll keep an eye on Twitter to see who asked it. That wasn't any voice from the beat that I recognized. It wasn't Kobe. It wasn't Dan. It wasn't Dave. And I see people are already jumping to the conclusion that was Dave. It was not.
It was not. No.
If I had to guess, I don't know. I don't want to get myself into trouble here with who I. It sounded a little like Schlecht. I don't know, but I also don't know if he goes to games there in OKC. So
I don't think it was. No, that didn't sound. I've heard him on pause before, and I don't think.
yeah, maybe it was Rylan, like that Rylan guy. I don't know.
Oh, I don't.
But
I wouldn't
either
recognize
way,
his voice.
it wasn't somebody from the Lakers beat who asked that question. And
No.
I will say this from that video. That little smirk that you got from Luka there, I don't think he's like that sad that Nico lost his job.
Probably not. No. Yeah. Probably not.
Look, man, I'm gonna look for any reason to laugh on this podcast. And Luka smiling when asked about Nico Harrison losing his job. I'm gonna take that bait. But yeah, back to this one. The Austin thing, I just think he is going to have to figure out a way to be more impactful in these games against that level of athleticism. And to me, it really starts with being better as a catch and shoot threat. Like, I don't know how comfortable he is catching and shooting when he is sped up. And we saw that in the Minnesota series, where if he had the time to shoot with his usual rhythm, right? And he had, because Austin, like, you'll see guys like Steph is the nth degree example of somebody who like doesn't necessarily get the ball placed on the platter when he shoots it. It's all kind of in one motion and it's out of his hands. It's a really like an insanely fast release, right? The fastest great release I've ever seen. Austin is very much the kind of guy who, like, when he shoots it, you see like there's a moment where there's a pause right here where the ball is at this point in his shot, and he then releases from there. And that extra little quarter of a second, right, is something that he needs to, I think, feel comfortable shooting the basketball. And when he plays against these teams with that level of athleticism or that level of physicality or that level of length, he gets put out of rhythm. And I think his numbers are significantly lower, I would imagine, against those teams. I think everybody's are, but
Yeah.
his as well. And so that to me is where, like, if this is ever going to work with Luka and Austin as the kind of centerpieces moving forward, or if you want to keep calling him the best backcourt in the NBA, Austin has to be a lot better in these spots.
Yeah, I think the tough part with that equation is, like, if you're just mapping this out as a defense and you have Luka and Austin on the floor and Luka's running a ball screen on the other side of the floor, like, the guy you're helping off of isn't Austin, right? Like, you're like, that's not the guy you're leaving. You're leaving Bando, you're leaving Rui, you're leaving Smart. Like,
Yeah.
you're just, there's too many guys that they can have a roaming defender against. And so Austin's not getting like the swing wide open three. That's very rare, right? In this offense that he gets that. And when he gets that, I think he hits that at a pretty good clip. So to me, there's no getting around like him making pull-up jump shots, like especially against a team like OKC that's kind of dares you to take that. That's the whole point of having two guards that average 69 a game, whatever, whatever it is. Or I think that was Luka and Shai were averaging, whatever Luka and Austin came in averaging, like the pull-up jump shot, the mid-range efficiency, all that stuff has to at least hit a point against a team like OKC where the bar and the margins are so low. What I want to ask, because I don't see this on the rundown, but I think it's connected. How would LeBron have changed tonight? Like, if LeBron obviously practiced with South Bay, supposedly that went well, so obviously he's on the path to returning. I think you tweeted this about, I don't know if it was this morning, whenever you said, while watching the Lakers, there's a bunch of times where you look at it and go, oh, they could use LeBron there in different situations. I was watching tonight against OKC, and I think LeBron's probably our best Chet attacker, like the guy that can go against Chet. And so that's what I saw tonight. Obviously, I don't know if he makes the 38-point difference in tonight's specific game, but at least that was the difference for me of, okay, if they had LeBron, they have one guy who can barrel to the rim against their best switch defender. And so that kind of maybe breaks the doors open. What do you think about that?
I'll look at it in a different way, in that, so I'm looking at the minute dispersal. Aiden only played 26 minutes. They kind of waved the white flag on him faster than anybody else on the team, really. But so I think his minutes would go up just kind of naturally, usually. But in this one, Dalton Connect played 19 minutes. Now, there was some garbage time at the end that he would not normally play. But if LeBron is playing, we don't see Dalton in this game at all. And I thought Dalton was a fucking disaster out there. Like, he just does not belong at this level of basketball.
This level of competition is higher than
so far beyond where he is at. Yeah. So not having any Dalton minutes, I think is where LeBron really helps. I think you get fewer Vanderbilt minutes, and I think that certainly helps. You get fewer Jackson Hayes minutes, and I thought Jackson was not very good tonight. And Jackson is one of the guys that you're looking at like, hey, we need an athlete out there. Jackson, can you go out there and be an athlete? And OKC is just so good at keeping everybody off balance that even Jackson doesn't look like that great of an athlete out there. So, like, to me, LeBron replaces a bunch of the worst minutes that the Lakers have out there. And on top of it, like you're saying, like another way of saying, a Chet attacker is just somebody who actually craters the defense. And what I mean by that is normally that would be Jackson, somebody that, gets going downhill, gets on the runway, gets on the trampoline and dunks over people. But OKC is just so good defensively and they're so good at tagging and stuff like that he's never actually able to get on the runway. Ayton is not the kind of guy who's going to go and finish over people. The one time he came close to it, right, he had a fairly open alley-oop that he just beefed.
He missed. Yeah.
Rui Hachimura is a guy that like athletically should be able to do more of that, but like we just know that he isn't that. And Vanderbilt is a good enough athlete to do that, but once his hands touch a basketball, he becomes not that. LeBron is the one guy who, what's the stampede cut or the stampede
cut,
rule?
yeah.
Like he's the one guy who when he gets going on that stampede cut, he does crater. Like Chet doesn't stand a chance with LeBron with a full head of steam. Hartenstein doesn't stand a chance against LeBron with a full head of steam. And that to me is what, like, that amount of force, that's what LeBron would bring to this team.
Yeah, that's where I see it as well. I think, last year when we had the hot shooting against OKC, which helped a lot in the matchups against them. But I thought having just one more big physical guy, Ayton, I thought tried to be that. But again, just having Hartenstein and Chet out there was tougher and we get. And then that puts a lot of pressure on Rui to be the forward that, brings that. And that's not really his game either. I thought Rui had a really tough night. You talked about Austin shooting. I thought Rui had a tough time like getting a shot up, right? Like, I mean, a guy that was averaging 17, 18 or whatever, he got a few open threes that I think one of them went in, got to the line a little bit, but overall just could not get shots up against this.
He didn't look like he ever knew when to shoot.
Yeah,
and that's like you're talking about earlier, that like OKC's role players, they know exactly like what read to make and how quickly to make it. And all of the Lakers role players, whenever they saw the whenever they got the ball in space or anything like that, there was that like half a beat hesitation while they read the court, and while they're doing that, OKC is right back at they're right back into the shell that they need to be in, and that advantage is gone just like that.
Right, and there's no like if you don't take advantage of the slight misstep or the slight advantage you do get in the half court, it's over. You're not getting a good shot after that. Again, this is not like some like OKC is just at a level above everybody. I mean, Kayson, Dort didn't play, but just their defensive ability is just and I think Chet is going to be in some interesting defensive conversations. Like watching him tonight was extremely, extremely impressive. Like a guy for how young he is to already be this impactful. He had a bunch of blocks and just changing shots at the rim. One of the best defenders I've seen so far in these short span of the season. So Lakers have a lot of work to do. I think they play New Orleans on Friday. So again, just a crazy pendulum swing back towards a terrible defensive team before heading on a back-to-back and play Milwaukee the day after, I believe.
I think this is a good point here from Bashir. You can't have your stars be finesse guys and also have your role players be finesse guys. Like, where's the force? Where's the umph? This team needs umph. And, hopefully they add it in some way, shape, or form over the course of the season.
Is Luka a finesse offensive player, you would say? Would you throw him in the finesse boat? I think it's an interesting... Like, he's a guy that likes the post. Like, that's a place he does like to do damage with. But he has a tendency against bigs, at least, to really settle for the three, which I don't know. I have a tough time, I guess, putting him in a finesse or,
to me, like finesse is about finishing. Like, what kind of shots are you taking? And
okay,
Luka takes a lot more shots where he's either going straight up or falling away than he does going to the basket,
going through you.
Yeah, and like what guys do the Lakers have on their, like, who played in tonight's game that takes shots through players?
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, I think Austin did at least try to go through the wall a few times, just kind of put your head down, get to the ring, go to the line. LeBron obviously will bring that, but you're right. You go down the rest of the roster. Marcus Smart, I think, is in an interesting kind of
He's
boat
drunk.
there,
Like it's
which is
like,
such a compliment, like just to the way he
right, like
plays. It's just the best
it's
thing you
not
could say about somebody. Like,
like
just a purely enjoyable, like he's purely enjoying
just
his
like
game.
fuck it. Like I feel like before almost all of the shots that he takes, he's just like, here we go. Woo! Like it's just he looks like he's having a blast out there. I like having Marcus Smart on my team.
Oh,
His shot
it's so
selection
great.
is gonna give me a hernia, but like it's just,
I don't know if you noticed it, but I think we were down like 38 or something, whatever the score was. And Rui didn't rotate properly on defense. And Marcus Smart was like, hey, like that's your rotation. Like
Yeah.
you gotta be there. And I like that. Like he has an every possession. And again, the roller coaster just sometimes goes way off than it should. He'll do stuff that
literally
just
the cart flies off the tracks.
but it'll eventually land back on it. You know what I mean? It just
somehow
it just took a route, that you're not supposed to go on. But yeah, he was like yelling at Rui for not being in the right spot. And I love that. Like I think that's 100% needed on this team. So yeah, but yeah, to your point, there's not a lot of guys that are going through them offensively, at least. That's where you kind of miss LeBron.
Like who's the guy that the Lakers don't have a player on their team? Like my favorite dunk type is, say a player is like a right-handed player and they're on the left wing and they swing through baseline and they take one dribble in and they go right foot, left foot jump and they turn their body this way and their right arm extends this way and they dunk over the top like that. Like that's my favorite. That's always going to be my favorite kind of dunk, right? That's how Kobe liked to dunk on like Yao or Sean Bradley or whatever. We would just swing the ball through and he would get to his right foot, left foot, runway and just boom. And the Lakers don't have a player capable of that dunk. Like they don't have. There's not. They don't.
Adou Thiero.
I'm all right. I feel the need to say this. This might be what are those commercials? Those like public service announcements. PSA to everybody.
Okay.
Y'all need to stop with that Thiero. Like you guys, all of you.
It's loud. Like it is extremely
Everybody
loud.
needs to stop. Like everybody, we haven't seen this dude play a second of Lakers basketball. Not one. He didn't play in Summer League. He hasn't played yet. Like the people who were like, yeah, he's going to crack this rotation. Stop, guys. Stop. I'd rather trade him right now while his like his theoretical trade value is this high. Like just get off of it. He's not going to play for the Lakers this year. He should. If he plays for the Lakers this year, something terrible happened. This is a title contender. Like second round picks don't just jump in. Or if we think this is a title contender, second round rookies don't just like step in and was like, all right, guys, I'm in the rotation now. That's not how this works. Everybody needs to take a deep ass breath and realize, no, just no. I feel like with like my Miles will do this thing where like Miles is 3 years old now, and you'll see like the glint in his eye when he realizes the stupid thing he's gonna try next. Like, I'll look at him and he'll kind of connect. I'm watching him like connect the dots. He's like, oh, I could jump from the ottoman to the couch right now. And I'm like, no. And he'll kind of look at me like, oh. dare you accuse me of such a thing? And I'm telling all Lakers fans, all of you, no, stop it. I'm going to squirt you guys with some cold water. Just no.
So
Like a puppy that's getting ready to pee on the rug. No, stop bringing up Adou to me.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate, not for Miles jumping from the ottoman to the couch, but first of all, JJ I think mentioned or someone I forgot who mentioned it, but the expectation is for Adou to get in during the road trip at some point. That's why he's with the team on the road trip.
Available tonight because there's plenty of garbage time for him to play.
Right. And so I think the reason why Adou is so tantalizing as a prospect, even if, I mean, he's a second round pick, but he's a little higher than, most second round picks, 35, whatever the pick.
He's a competitive sweep.
No, but his athleticism jumps on a roster where we just went through and you were asking who can dunk with their right hand. I mean, like this is, you're going down the roster. And this is why Adou, I think, is so, is a player that Laker fans looking at and going, look, we don't have much athleticism. Vanderbilt is probably one of our best athletes, but he is such a drop off on the offensive end that we are open to looking to other options. And if you look around the league, like the Warriors started a second round pick today, and Will Richard, who it doesn't look like he's leaving the starting lineup at any point going forward. The Oklahoma City just started a second round pick today against us, obviously with injuries coming out. And I'm not saying Adou is going to come in and start, but I think there is some precedent around the league where, like, at least rookies can at least contribute quicker than I think they did in the past. He's definitely, as George says, theoretical. Like he definitely is theoretical right now, but I do think it would behoove the Lakers to at least not
theoretical.
Oh God. Just ruined my whole basketball talk with that. Yes. But
I'm finding any reason to laugh tonight.
But right. Yes. But no, I think the Lakers should at least look at what they have, at least from an athletic standpoint. I'm with you in slowing down kind of him taking everyone's minutes. That's not like 7 down, but I wouldn't be. I mean, like Bronny played tonight. Dalton, you mentioned, played tonight. I mean, obviously those are garbage time, but Bronny played more than garbage time against the Spurs. Or who was it? Was it the Spurs or was it Portland? I'm misremembering. But in any case, like he played legit minutes down the stretch. He closed the game down the stretch recently. So I think the Lakers are keeping the Adou door open at least. So I understand the PSA that you just sent out, but it's going to have to be shelved for a little bit. It's not going to air right away. The PSA has to air in like a few weeks once, Adou actually, I think, plays and they see what he looks like and all that. But I do think he's going to play. I'd be shocked if Adou doesn't at least play sometime the next coming week or so. I'm not saying he's going to be in the rotation, but he's definitely going to be playing. Like he'll get a shot at some point.
I don't know what to say, man. Like
you just watched me jump from the ottoman to the couch.
I did. I
was like, look, I made it. I didn't get hurt. Like I have a few like.
I even tried to squirt you with a water bottle by making a bad pun, and you just kept on. It's like, fuck it, here I go. Whoa!
Right off the cliff. Yeah.
It's like, here's my thing. Like, all right, so you mentioned Will Richard playing, and you mentioned AJ Mitchell playing, and
yes,
the difference there is that the Golden State Warriors are a maybe not much, but they are a better put together organization than the Lakers have been. The Lakers traded for Luka, and if they didn't make the Luka trade, we'd be sitting here screaming at them to maybe help LeBron and AD compete again, or do anything, right? And AJ Mitchell, it's the Thunder.
I mean, sure.
It's the Thunder. Like they draft incredibly well. They give themselves all of these opportunities at these guys, and then they get them into their system and they develop them better than any other team in the league. And it's like, yeah, yes, a second rounder started for the Oklahoma City Thunder today. That's the Thunder. That's the cream of the crop organization in the sport right now. There is no close second place to how the Thunder are being run. So AJ Mitchell looks great and all that stuff, but because he did that for this team, It's like when everybody started drafting European players because the San Antonio Spurs made it work, and you had like Fabrizio. No, I guess he was also a Spur, but like you had like all these guys, coming. Marcelo Huertas was like the Lakers, like that was their like rebuttal to Tony Parker. It was like, all right, guys, we got our Euro finally. I'm kidding. Obviously, they eventually traded before that. They traded for Powell, but like it's like yeah. Yeah, those guys worked out for the Spurs, but they were the fucking Spurs back then. They were just like organizationally ahead of the curve on a lot of the stuff. And AJ Mitchell is just yet another example of the Thunder being the Thunder. Let's wrap up with a couple of super comments here, which means I get to play this bad boy. First super chat comes from Brandon Omang, who writes, starts with Luka, got to be better. AR2, starting to worry about DA's effort and defense. Also, he can't catch anything. Team needs trades. 2 out of 3 blowouts. The blowouts of 2 of the last 3 games. Yeah, I agree. We already talked about Luka. To me, he set kind of the tone. Like I thought look, if Luka's going to get the vast majority of the praise when the Lakers win, he also has to get that amount of the criticism when they lose. We talked about AR. The DA thing, he's somebody who I think is really going to benefit from LeBron. Like the Lakers at the beginnings of these games, I guess technically Smart is starting, but Smart is playing with the rest of the game taking place behind him, right? He didn't even start tonight, right? Did he?
He started.
He
Yeah,
did.
he
All right.
started.
But like Smart is going to like start all of these defensive possessions with the rest of the team kind of standing behind him usually. Whereas LeBron is going to be closer to the baseline with people in front of him. And that allows him to communicate and I think really help Ayton in some of those spots. His hands, I'm not really too worried about his hands. I actually think he has decent hands and decent touch, and he's a very skilled player. I wish he played with more force, but he's just not that kind of a player.
I haven't had any real issues with his effort level. Like I feel like it's been what you could ask for, at least on the defensive end. I think rebounding, he's boxing out. He's doing his best to kind of rebound for the team. I think the hands thing is interesting. I think everyone's kind of learning what type of player he is in terms of what he likes and doesn't like. I thought tonight he actually rolled hard to the rim, which I thought was great. The team needed it because he likes to short roll. He likes to stop at the free throw line. He did get 1 free throw line jumper tonight. OKC was like, no more. That's it. And they took that completely away. But no, I think Ayton's been fine. Like, yes, I think he's not a lob threat. At least that's what we're also learning, is that guy's just not a guy that you throw it up. And Luka continues to throw him lobs that he has no interest in jumping for. But I think Ayton's been fine. Like, was other part of the question was, needs trades. I mean, we're so far away from that. I think I just want to see what LeBron looks like with this squad before, we start opening. I know, Anthony, you have the trade machine on the other window, but at least like trying to, before getting those open.
I'm not going to share my screen.
Like Dalton in 20 different deals.
Dalton's getting sent to fucking Siberia. I can't watch this guy play basketball anymore. Let's run with Jason Kelly. Luka is awesome, but he feels so far from the level of Jokic right now. Having a top 5 player is great, but I just can't see Luka ever being the best. This was a bad game. This was a bad game from Luka, and I have basically a rule where like I am not going to judge somebody at their best moments, and I'm not going to judge somebody at their worst. And I think in aggregate, Luka has been a top 3 player in the league right now, this season when he's been available. I would put Jokic there, I'd put Giannis there, and then I would say, if you want to say either Shai or Luka, then I think that's kind of where you're at. But yeah, like this one, there are no excuses. There's no rebuttal to that tonight. Where it was just a really bad game for Luka, and it's just like, it wasn't just that it's one thing if he was like trying to get to the rim and he was missing floaters, or it's weird how bad he is at free throws. Like or how bad he's been at free throws this season has been kind of annoying. But to me, I was a lot more frustrated or disappointed with his. Excuse me. I was a lot more annoyed with him just kind of taking the step back jumpers. Like that's the worst version of Luka, step back jumper Luka.
I think also the conundrum, the difficult part is that's also what gets him to like 60 points, right? Like that's also how you get the 60, 65 crazy Luka game. And I think Tim Legler, I think I've said this before, but he put it best to me, where Luka will always dip his toe in the water, see like, okay, let me see how warm I am, or like how my shot is looking. And to me, that's a team wide thing, or it's like, okay, you don't have it going, let's go to something else. But he's not a guy that's gonna like just defer to defer, right? He's not gonna defer just because he's taking the last 6 shots. Like there's got to be some organizational stuff too. I'm not ridding him of any kind of accountability here, but I think this is also Luka's game, and that's why again I've just preached like those our 3 best players have to run stuff together that works, because against the best teams it's going to look like this. But if you allow it to. So just one bad game. Luka's been top 3 or whatever for the season. Him and Shai to me are right there with each other, and Shai got the best of him tonight.
And look, like if you really want to whittle this one down, Shai and Luka, I think, are in the same tier of basketball player. And if the Lakers are ever going to have a chance against the Thunder, it's going to be because Luka thoroughly outplayed Shai. And if Shai outplays Luka, that's how you arrive at a 30-point loss, right? Because you can't, like, the other team can't be better and also have the best player in the game.
I think Luka and Shai can even themselves out. Like if that,
yeah,
like,
they
that's
could scratch.
a,
Yeah, they can. Yeah, but I'm saying
they can scratch. Yeah,
yeah, they could, scratch or play to a tie or whatever. But you can't have Shai play better than Luka.
he can't far outplay Luka, right? Because you're gonna lose.
Which he did.
But no, he 100% did. But if they can even out, then you have LeBron and Austin versus the supporting cast of OKC, and whatever move the Lakers make in a few months. Hopefully that.
Jason also followed that up. Luka also has all the same talent Jokic says. The thing to me, that I would like, if we're going to use Jokic as kind of the direct comparison here, and I think the point that Jason is basically making is that like Luka and Jokic play a similar version of basketball, and Jokic is just better at all of that stuff and bigger than Luka is. But like, I wish the Lakers did more to get Luka better position in some of these possessions. And the Lakers will sometimes, run this thing where they'll post up Luka, like they did it a couple times tonight, where he catches the ball a step inside the 3-point line, which I would rather him be on the other side of the 3-point line. To be completely honest, if you're going to be that close to the 3-point line, I would rather you just be behind it, because then you can do like the jab step, kind of inherent step back jumper and be shooting a 3-pointer there. Whereas if you do that, now you're just shooting the worst shot in basketball. If you catch the ball a step inside the 3-point line, what I would like to see the Lakers try to figure out a way to do is get Luka the ball at the elbow or at the pinch post and really put him into some like different spots on the court than up at the top, running pick and roll after pick and roll after pick and roll.
Yeah. I think that's scouted, right? And Luka tried to go in the post against Kayson Wallace. OKC's like, no, like we're gonna blitz you here. We're gonna make you catch it way farther out than you want to. We're gonna ball pressure every time. One thing also that stands out, we didn't talk about this. OKC doesn't just switch because it's a screen. Like they fight through every darn screen, where you earn every bit of separation you get. The amount of switching that we did, like just because a small screen gets here, all of a sudden Rui's on Case on, and all of a sudden Austin's on Chet, and it just has broken your defense. Just that's not a little thing that I noticed with them is just they don't just give you anything. Caruso is not switching off of his man because you try to screen him in the backcourt.
No, it's
no,
like
I'm
Golden State, right? Like anytime they know that teams are going to try to hunt Steph, it's like, all right,
Right.
fine. If you're going to get Steph in a switch or in a tough spot, it's going to take you 14 seconds to do
right.
it.
And take you the whole shot clock. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been about as fun as I think we could have hoped for, right? We laughed a couple of times. We ranted. we cried. All of those good things. So tomorrow on the show, the guest that I was going to have appears to have fallen through. So I'm going to figure out a way to handle tomorrow's episode. But we do have this is a Pete in the Hook week, so that'll be Friday's episode as well. So make sure you guys are subscribed and have your notifications turned on for that. And until the next time you guys hear from us, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Raj Tapalu. This has been the Lakers Lounge, and have a great rest of your nights. Make somebody else's, and we will talk to you guys whenever we talk to you.